Hey everybody, welcome to Trending Thursday. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to have you here. Glad to be here. Let me turn that down a little bit. Got a lot of stuff going on today. First off, if you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted when new videos and live streams like this come out, so that you can always be here. Number two, if you like the content, don't forget to hit the like button. And the big thing is, I'm trying to get more and more people into the presentation. Don't forget to hit the share button. Share the live link so that we can get more people into the room, because I think that we bring a lot to the table to help people better understand the market, not just look at stocks from, per se, but to see and get a better education about what's going on in the market and how to play the market. So don't forget to hit the share button. Share the link. All right, let's go see who's here. Badger says, I came here looking for the Todd Schaefer Investment Power Hour. Am I in the right spot? Yes, you are. That's going to be our special guest today. It's going to be Todd Schaefer. He's an awesome individual, and he brings a certain savoir-faire, who's everywhere, to the market and to the benefits of using the VectorVest software. And I think that we're going to display the difference between what you guys are when you come for Trending Thursdays as more of a day or swing trader, to a better understanding on how to be a successful investor in the market. So with that being said, Ninja is saying hi, Glenn. Jay is talking to Roger. Etam is here from Israel. Love that. John says, I have a pot of Cafe Bustelo brewing and frying up some bacon. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Bacon and coffee. All right. Valadivlo says, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? I think the market's going to open up, and we're going to either go higher or lower tomorrow. That's the down honest answer. Raphael is here from Calgary. Ron is here from Los Angeles. Alp says, woo-wee. That's what I'm talking about. That is the VectorVest VV Nation war cry, baby. Rick says, hi, Glenn. Chicago concerts, Charlotte PNC Pavilion tomorrow night. Oh, who's, Todd, who's here? I don't know if you can hear me. Who's here at the PNC Pavilion tomorrow? I don't know. I haven't disliked. Is it Chicago? Oh, it says Chicago concert. Duh, son of a gun. I thought he was saying he was tuning in from Chicago. Chicago concert is tomorrow. Wow. All right. I wonder if I should go. I should tell. I can't. I'm going to be here doing time in the market. All right. I've got Stin here from Belgium. Boston is here. I know. And Boston says, he just said Chicago, shy. Listen, I asked where you were tuning in from, and he put Chicago. So I thought he was tuning in from Chicago. Sigh. Jim Penn is releasing VectorVest next day tomorrow. Oh, he is? Oh, did you know that? Okay. Well, we'll see. All right. So with that, a little different take today. I had somebody on Facebook get on me yesterday about just reading articles. So I took that to heart, and I don't have the Facebook chat yet. I don't know if I'm going to get it. If I do, I do. So I think I'm going to do something a little different here today to keep you guys here a little longer. And keep your attention a little more. And I think what Todd has to offer will do the same thing. It's going to keep you guys here a little longer. I'm looking at my homepage right now. All of the major indices are down. What happened yesterday? GDP went down for a second quarter in a row. Are we having a recession? Well, the honest answer is I don't think we're full-blown recession, but partly textbook. We are in a recession now with GDP down for 2 quarters in a row. Another piece of the puzzle, though, needs to be the jobs picture. Normally during a recession, people are getting laid off. People are not looking for people to hire, but that is not the case right now. Companies are still looking to hire people. And people are not getting laid off, with the exception of probably Tesla. Tesla's already starting to lay off people, and probably a couple of other companies are as well, but it's not as prevalent as you would see in a full-blown recession. So putting all of that together, is the recession here partly textbook? Yes. Is the market feeling the effects of that? The market's down again for a third day in a row, as you can see on the homepage or see in our indices. The market is still down for another day. All of the major indices are down. Looking at our, you don't see the advanced decliners, but you see our color guard, our traffic light into the market, still a lot of yellow. Primary wave is still up, 3 days down, but the market is still up, or the primary wave is still up. And that's because the market had been so beaten up in that it doesn't take much to rise higher on a week-over-week basis. So that's where we stand. So that's the news behind the market. Guess what I don't have today, folks? Today, we're not looking at news stories, but I will walk you through the insight behind utilizing the VectorVest software to see what is trending. Remember, this is all about Trending Thursday. What's actually trending? And I'm going to walk you through the process, if you are a VectorVest subscriber, to truly see what's trending in the market, no matter what the market's conditions are. And if you're not a subscriber to the VectorVest software, I still will offer you a 99-cent trial to get access to what I'm going to show you today. 99 cents for 30 days. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Glenn, was a beaten up like a rented mule? Yes. I can't. See, Jay, you know me too well. I don't know. Do we still rent mules nowadays? I don't know. When Todd comes on, I'll ask him if we still rent mules. All right. So what I am going to do, though, is I am going to get into the software, and I'm going to show you what's going on from a graphical standpoint with our two main indices. We're looking at the VVC, and we're going to look at the SPY. For those of you who do not have access to the VectorVest software, we're going to analyze the market by way of the S&P 500. So what we're going to do, there's the VVC. Remember, the VectorVest Composite, or VVC, tracks the movement of over 9,000 stocks. So many of you out there say, well, I can do what VectorVest does, but I'm going to tell you that you're not going to get the same amount of stocks and the same amount of perspective on the broad market move that we do here at the VectorVest, with the VectorVest system. So looking at the VVC, remember, this tracks 9,200 and some odd stocks. This is the trend of the market. The market is definitely trending down. So now, hold on. What am I? I'm in the program. Joey, why is it not showing my screen to them? There we go. All right. So I was on VectorVest program. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so here's the market over the last 3 months, trending lower. I put out a video not too long ago talking about when are we going to have to find, or when are we going to find a bottom. And I said that we were going to have several bottoms throughout this process until we could actually find a bottom where it could bounce and there was some news to push the market higher. There's been no positive news in the market through this time span that has really been able to substantiate a big up move in the market. So even back here, when the market was moving higher, I kept saying over and over, okay, the market's moving higher. Let's take what the market gives us. But there was nothing positive to push it higher. It went right to that trend line, fell. Not only that, we had a little bit of a wedge going on. We broke to the wedge to the downside, and we created a new low over the last 3 months. Boom. That happened. Now, our indicators are still saying that the market is looking for a bottom, and it will stay that way while the market is moving lower. Another short rebound, and this rebound wasn't nearly as, for the lack of a better word, healthy or rambunctious as this previous rebound. It never even got up to the level of that resistance of the trend line. And then looking at a 20-day exponential moving average, we're down below it again. And I think that we're going to challenge this level of support on the VectorVest Composite sitting at 51.23. Let's see if that level will hold, or will it create another 3-month low with all the given information in the market? For those of you who are not subscribers to the software and you want to be able to get a better feel of what's going on with the S&P 500, we had a wedge here. All right, there's the trend line on the S&P, trending lower, downtrend on the S&P 500, broke through the wedge, broke below the 20-day exponential moving average, found a level of support at 361.91, bounced. Again, no good news, but bounced nonetheless. And now look at it falling below the 20-day exponential moving average. So I've got a level of support on the spiders at 361.91, and that's where we stand right now. What's driving the market lower? Again, GDP down for 2 quarters in a row. Inflation is still high. Interest rates are still rising at a hawkish rate. Those are the things that are definitely pushing the market down in the current market's conditions. All right. And that's where we stand. So with all of that, I still have to come up with a way to find you what's trending on Trending Thursday. And today, like I said, we're going to go through the process of what I do on a weekly basis to help you to find what's trending. So we'll do this. We'll start off with Delta Searches Industries. All right. Delta. What is Delta? Delta is a percentage change. All right. And what I'm looking for in this case, a 10-day price delta. I'm looking for a percentage change by way of price of all of the industries that we track to see what industries have gone up the most over the last 10 days. So I run it as of now, 211. This is industry price split adjusted. The delta is a 10-day. Now, in the VectorVest software, there's a lot of flexibility, what you see here. If I click under value, I can make any kind of delta I want, whether it's on days, minutes, or weeks, and whatever time period I want as well. And I have it sorted descending so that the industries that have gone up the most over the last 10 days will automatically come to the top of the list. So I run the search. All right. Now, we track a lot more. We track like 241 industries, I believe. So I can open this up at any point in time. Folks, this can be done at any point in time, whether the market's good, bad, or indifferent. And I can quickly see over the last 2 trading weeks what industries have gone up the most in price. So that's kind of cool, right? Just off the top that we can do that. So now as I go down the list, I wanted to look at the industry graphs. The top of the list is up 10.73% over the last 2 trading weeks, ETFs, sector, biotech. I right click and I view the industry graph. So now I've got the list. Now I can look at the graph. Today, look at it. It fell, but look at the run going into the afternoon hours on this industry. But better yet, from a trending perspective, let's go look over the last 3 months. Actually, let's go over the last 10 days. Let's go look over the last 1 month. Let's go look over the last 1 month. And what I like about this is finding a level of support right here, moving up, moving above a 20-day exponential moving average on good volume. Now, currently, the industry is still above the 20-day exponential moving average out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, while above the 20-day exponential moving average. This industry has gone up 7 out of the 8 last trading days. I like that from the perspective of being a trending industry. Only 1 day down, and even on the pullback, still above the 20-day exponential moving average. Now, what I don't like is that volume is pulling off a little bit, but still a lot of shares being traded on the industry. All right, I'm looking at today's candle, a lot more wick at the bottom of the candle showing me some buying pressure. So that was the first industry that I looked at in my list of finding stocks today. Now, I want to show you something else. As we go down this list, let's go to personal soap cleaning. Right click. Let's run this again. How much is this up over the last 10 days? Over the last 10 days, it's up 9.7%. I'm going to right click, view the industry graph. All right, nicely moving up today. Look over the last 3 months. Look at the pullback on this, on the industry. Let's go. I'll just put it on a 1 month graph still. I do like this as well, but I don't like that the volume is definitely pulling off as the stock is, or as the industry is moving sideways, but still up more days than not. I decided to bypass this one from that perspective. I want to make sure the industry's volume is there as well. What else is in here? Business service schools, right click, view the industry graph. Let's go take a look at it. That's what it looks like today. Let's go over the last 1 month. I like that. All right, but volume is falling again. Volume is falling again. So what I did is I went through all of these industries and I cherry picked which industries not only gave me nice up moves in the last 10 days, but I wanted to make sure that the equity curves of the graphs look good. So I liked the ETFs sector biotech. And then I also went down the list. I found food, dairy products up over 7%. All right, out of 241 industries, it is number 95. Notice that the ETF sector biotech was number 36. So I'm looking at definitely the top or the top tier of industries that are moving. So I liked, what did I find? I said food and dairy products. I went and looked at its graph, view the industry graph. There's today, and let's go look over the last 1 month. I like that as well, even though it's leveling out. The volume is not as quite as nice, but I took this industry as well. All right, so that's where I pulled stocks from, those two industries. Now, that was methodology number one, just looking at a 10-day price delta. I did a second methodology to find stocks, and I did a 10-day RT delta. So now I'm still doing a percentage change, but now on our indicator, relative timing, to see what industries had gone up the fastest by way of relative timing in the system as well. And I came up with industries, and I took two, going through the process of looking at the equity curves. I came up with two. Now this one, I did come up with personal, there it is, soap cleaning. All right. Now, compared to the other industries in the same, in this search, this one looked good, so I took that one. And then I also took utility water supply. And interesting, it's number 9. It's number 9 as far as industries out of the over 200 industries we track. Personnel, soap, and cleaning was number 33. So again, even though I looked to cherry pick the industries by way of graphs, I also am in the top tier of industries within the VectorVest system. That's methodology number 2. Now, I did another methodology to help us to find some stocks. I did a 10-day price delta, and I called it strong industries. So what I'm looking for are the industries that have gone up over the last 20 days and have done even better over the last 10 days. Oh my gosh, hush up, Siri. All right, I hate when that happens. So this shows me some momentum behind the industries, up over 4% over the last 20 days, but going up even faster over the last 10 days. We already are looking for stocks in ETF sector biotech. The cool thing about what I just did is that this industry has come up in 2 of my 3 different methodologies, which really brings home the point that this industry is really trending right now. Does everybody see that? Type a 1 in the room if that makes sense to you. Type a 2 in the room if you're totally flipping lost. All right? Type a 1 in the room if that makes sense to you. Type a 2 if you're totally lost and behind what I'm just saying. And today's presentation, folks, I'm taking this a little different in regards to the power and the flexibility behind what the VectorVest software has, or the VectorVest system has to bring to the table from a trending perspective. Now, a couple of people said no. All right. So again, the first methodology was doing a percentage change in price for the industries. All right. The second methodology was looking at a percentage in relative timing for the industries. And methodology number 3 was going to see what industries were moving up over the last 20 days, and then we're moving up even more over the last 10 days. All right, Mark says 1, but I'm lost on so many other fronts. And Mark, for a small fee, I can bring you into my office, have you sit in my chair, and we can talk about some of the issues that you're having. For the nominal price of $1,000.50 per hour, I can sit down and help you with all of those things, all right? And I sit right next to Todd, so Todd can listen in and get all of the guidance for free. He gets it for free, but you got to pay for it. All right, I changed my mind. I'm not that lost, says Mark. Joey gets the 50 cents. Kirby, yes, he does. Joey gets the 50 cents out of that. All right, so with that, I went through and looked to make sure that the industry graphs were rising, were above my 20-day exponential moving average, and looked good for that. And Joey gets, so Joey pinned that he gets 50 cents. I vote we bring Mark Norton for a guest appearance on the Jockey Club. That would be kind of cool if we could do that. That would be kind of cool if we could do that. Can I get that deal with a military discount? Yes, I'll give you a $5 discount for military. I give you a $5 discount for military. All right, so I used those 3 methodologies to find the industry groups that were truly trending, and then I found the stocks within those industry groups to create my watch list today. So I'm going to go to the viewers, and this is my Trending Thursday, June 30th, 2022 watch list today. Let's set these out. So remember, here are the different industry groups that I'm looking at today based on my analysis. I'm looking at the ETFs sector health, which I'm looking at stocks KURE, KURE, and XLV. I'm also looking at food dairy products, only one ticker symbol out of there, which is Nestle, NSRGY. And on my second methodology of looking at industries moving on relative timing, I have personal soap cleaning, and I'm looking at ticker symbol CHD, Church and Dwight, and Clorox, CLX. Also under my industries moving by RT, utility water supply, ticker symbols CWCO, WTRG, and AWK. And my last one, which was the industries that were moving up over the last 20 days and moving even higher on the last 10 days, the industry was business service schools, ticker symbol LRN, EDU, and PRDO. So that's how I got all of these ticker symbols. And of course, the VVC and SPY are for looking at stocks. Now, looking at the market. So with all of that being said, this is my watch list of stocks this week for Trending Thursdays. We got no stories today. I just took you through the flexibility of the software. All right. For those of you who are not subscribers to the VectorVest software, do you see the benefit of having this kind of analysis? Type of 1. And actually, whether you're a subscriber or not, I'd like to have your input. Do you see the benefit of having this kind of analysis? Type of 1. And if you think you can do better than this, which there's people out there that can, if you think so, you type a 2 in the room. I am not going to judge in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If you honestly feel that your analysis is better than what we've done here, that's okay. My job is just to bring it to the forefront for the people that are here to really expand upon what Trending Thursday is all about, finding you what's trending no matter what the market's conditions are. And honestly, if you feel that this flexibility can help you, hit the like button. Hit the like button. I'm really looking for all of my people out there who are not subscribers to the VectorVest software, though, if you can see this. All right. So I've got my watch list of stocks, and I think that I've now set the table before I bring Todd on what we're looking for and what he can tell you out of these stocks from becoming a successful investor. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to highlight these all. These are all my stocks for Trending Thursday. NSRGY says, Ninja, I think he said military only has to pay $5. I said $5 off. Why do you folks always twist what I say? Every time I say something, you take it to total. I said $5 discount. $5 discount. Sigh. All right. So with that being said, let's go take a look at these stocks and let me show you why I feel that these stocks fit the mold from a Trending Thursday perspective. All right. Boston says, NSRGY, that's how I heard it too. Boston, you're just being Boston. All right, LRN, this was a stock that showed up on the list yesterday for Patrick and I. Patrick put this into his list as a down play for going into the week. We'll see. It was green earlier today after it pulled back. What I like about it from the bottom, I want to add a couple of other things. I've got a graph layout that I call Trending Thursday 2. I hope I saved it. Man, I hate this. And our customers complain about this. Trending Thursday too. So a couple of things that I'm looking at. A 3 and 8 exponential moving average. I'm looking at RT and I'm looking at volume. And what I do like from a trending perspective, I like that the stock's moving higher. I like the RT is moving higher. A little bit of a pullback today. But the 3 and the 8 crossed a few days ago and the stock's price took off. I'd like to see if it can take out that level of the high, though. I'm also looking at things like earnings per share. It's positive and an earnings growth of 23%. Does it pay a dividend? No, this is not a dividend paying stock, but I did a news story. I did a news story on the stock yesterday. What other stocks are in my list? Wow, CWCO, water. Now, as a utility stock, utility stocks tend to do okay, but when you're going to get into a utility stock, you want to look to see if it pays a dividend. This does pay a dividend. It's got a dividend safety of 43. It's not a super safe dividend. I like the 3-8 cross. I like the 3-8 still is positive. Nice update today. Would like to see from the perspective of taking out that high, but I love the move from a trending Thursday perspective of the stock moving higher. Next one, EDU. Look at the nice move that it had. Pulled back, found the level of support, and guess what? Since I talk a lot about the 3 and the 8, how about the 3 and the 8 just crossed today? How about the 3 and the 8 just crossed today? Volume is a little lighter than I'd like, but I do like the rising move on relative timing. Would like to see the stock take out that high on that 3-month high. KURE, wow, ETF sector health. Look at that move. Now I don't like the gappiness of the stock. But from a trending perspective, coming off of this level of support, moving up higher, I do like that. It stopped today right at that level of resistance of 23.41. The stock is a buy. It is an ETF, so I'm really wanting to look at relative timing. It's at 1.31. The stock is definitely in an uptrend. I like that from a trending perspective. Next one. Wow, look at that. PRDO, Business Service Schools. Look at that move. Nice update today. 3 and the 8 looks solid. Volume looks okay. RT is moving higher. Buy recommendation. The stock does not have good upside potential. It is a safe stock, though. Positive earnings. Ooh, look at that, though. Negative earnings growth. Remember, I'm looking at this from a trending perspective, and it definitely is trending higher. With some of the fundamentals being not as strong as I'd like, this is more of a trade. Hopefully everybody understands that. This is more of a trade, but I do like that from a trending perspective. Would like to see it take out that high, though, over the last 3 months. Church and Dwight, love the 3-8 crossing. RT is moving higher. It's got an earnings of 3.3. Earnings growth, not as high as I'd like, but it still is positive. This is a longer term play. Relative value, actually I thought it was, but relative value is below 1. I'd like to see it take out that level of resistance. Again, from a trending perspective, it is definitely moving higher with the 3 and the 8s moving further apart. WTRG, that's one of my utility water supply stocks. RT is above 1, leveling out. Volume is leveling out. I do like the update today coming right at that level of support of 44.76. Would like to see it break above that level of resistance of 47.64. AWK, my other water, let's go back to my other utility. It does pay a dividend with a dividend safety of above 50 on a scale between 0 and 99. That's a little bit of a safer investment from a dividend perspective. AWK has got a dividend safety of even higher at 60. Dividend is at 2.62. It's got an earnings growth rate of 12. Positive earnings. Relative value is not there. Relative safety is there. But from a trending perspective, trending higher off at that low or that level of support over the last 3 months. XLV, this is a way to play the whole space with one ticker symbol. XLV trending higher right now, starting to level out, but stopping right at that level of support of 127.82. Let's see if it can hold. RT is above 1, but middling right now. Next one, Nestle. This is in my food dairy products. Definitely trending higher, moving a tad bit sideways right now. This one, though, doesn't have an RT below 1, but it is moving higher. All right, I'd like to see it take out that level of resistance of 120.10. And actually, it was moving higher. It's now settling in to move a little bit sideways right now. Let's go to my next one. Now, that's on the spiders we talked about. Clorox. Man, everybody needs Clorox, right? Nicely found a level of support, 3 and 8 crossed a few days ago, stopping at a level of resistance of 142.39. Let's see if it can break above that. I do like the rising relative timing, relative value, relative safety, not fundamentally sound. Interesting, but a lot of good long-term stocks that are fundamentally sound have been affected by the downward push in the market to the downside. But from a trending perspective, now it is moving higher. Would love to see it break above that level of resistance. And the last stock is the VVC. Again, that's part of our market timing perspective. Now I'm going to close out of the graphs. Now that we've looked at these stocks and why I like them from a trending Thursday perspective, I'm now going to bring Todd in to use the same stocks that we're looking from a trending perspective. And now he's going to talk about it from a successful investing perspective and what to look for in these stocks from that mindset. And with that, Todd, come on in, buddy. And I want you to take a look at these stocks and now put your Todderific spin on it. Not just a Todd spin, but the Todderific spin on it.
I'm in the room. I closed the door behind me.
Okay.
Here we are. So your point's well taken, Glenn. You know, from the successful investor approach is different in objective and temperament than what you're doing in Trending Thursday, which is more of a swing trading kind of approach. And it's really important to right out of the box get clear on what your objectives are for the trade, because it changes your analysis and what you value. Right? So in fact, you looked at graphs, you're looking at a 3-month time frame. Default time frame for us in successful investing is 1 year. So we're much more prudent to conservative in the successful investor approach, and that's by design. Successful investing is really breathing life into Dr. DeLito's original approach to the VectorVest tool. Right? This is VectorVest Simple, the way he started all these many years ago. Right? And so from that perspective, with this longer time frame, we do a couple things. So first, let's look at your watch list of stocks, because as successful investors in the VectorVest analysis, we're going to give preference to stocks that have, in particular, relatively high RV and RS scores. Right? We want them to have fundamental strength, because fundamental strength is what helps build persistent price trends. Right? The company has a consistent financial performance that steadily improves their value, therefore their price. And so these stocks, even though they pull back in a bull market, of course, they'll have pullbacks, but typically you see investors coming back in, buying the dip, and they're very resilient to those pullbacks. And so we're going to ride that trend as long as we can. And of course, we'd love to see our T values above 1 typically, unless you're buying in after a market pullback. So we can look at the numbers and kind of get a feel just for where we are temperamentally. When we see RV and RS scores both above 1, that's typically a prudent kind of profile. If it's RV below 1 but RS above 1, that's more conservative. So maybe we're not in growth mode, right? Upside isn't so strong, but we have consistency and predictability of performance. RT is important because we still want to buy rising stocks in rising markets. So we don't discount any of that. Additionally, we would prefer or give preference to stocks that have positive earnings and positive earnings growth rates. And currently in this environment in particular, I like to see that they also have positive sales growth. But in that description, you can see it's a much more prudent to conservative approach, where I'm putting much more emphasis on the fundamental strengths of the company. That being said, you know, one of the deliverables for us in the successful investing coursework is that we want to give everybody kind of the basic fundamentals of what it takes to buy stocks, analyze stocks, and invest in them. And that means a systematic approach that tells us when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. So we do that on a rules-driven basis, and we demonstrate those techniques and teach and demonstrate those techniques in the coursework. And what you find is, even if you want to be a swing trader, do something more aggressively, we like to say, let's back up and make sure you can do it at a walk before you try to run. So if you can consistently make money, and we say in that 10 to 15% range, which is average for broad market trading, what the stock market has done over the past decades, right? If you can get in that 10 to 15% range consistently, then you probably have a pretty good handle on these skills. But if you're struggling to find consistent performance, then a lot of folks have found this coursework helpful in terms of getting you back to basics, making sure that you have all your fundamentals in hand, and then to ramp up that performance, it's simply a matter of tweaking the system that you've already learned. So let's do an example of how a successful investor would come and approach your list of stocks, or any list of stocks, right? You watch Kramer and he shouts at you, the 5 stocks he wants you to look at. Okay, come into VectorVest and do this analysis. We've already done part of it by looking at their fundamentals. So let's take a look at their graphs. Because in this methodology, VectorVest Simple, Dr. DeLito says, when you look at a graph, you're looking at the DNA of a stock. So let's look at the stock. Let's look at the DNA. And we're going to expand our time frame, and it's real easy to do in VectorVest. Just go up to your graph layouts and select VectorVest Simple. We tried to keep it simple, right? It's one of our default layouts. And we only want to look at price and earnings. And let's look at a 1-year time frame. So remember, we're looking at this now from a longer term perspective. And so we're looking for stocks that have persistent price appreciation over this 1-year time frame. That's a fancy way of saying I want it to go from bottom left to upper right, smoother the better. So Glenn, if you'll draw a line from the bottom left of the price graph to the upper right of the graph window. Right, that's the idealized, that 45-degree slope is the idealized sustainable price slope we're looking for stocks to hold over the long haul, right? If they get too much ahead of that, right? If they're accelerating too fast, they tend to retrace back to the mean. And of course, we don't like to buy falling stocks at all because you never know how far down is. We also want to see the same kind of performance out of the earnings graph. It should be going bottom left to upper right, smoother the better. Now, earnings, depending on how often they report, how many analysts are following them, you may see more stair-steppy kinds of behavior there. But we update that data daily. And I ought to see a progression in our earnings analysis. We include forecasts as well as historical earnings in that number. So there's a forward-looking component to this. And so we want to make sure that the analysts who are tracking that stock and its industry still have forward guidance that's positive, right? The forecasts are still positive. They may be, in this environment, they may be slowing down, but they're still positive. And so this kind of trend in a market that's continuing to rise, which is the best time to be buying, right? That's sustainable now. I'm putting the odds in my favor of I found a company that consistently is making money. The market has recognized that because the price is persistently rising. I'm just going to jump on board. And that's what we're doing in successful investing. So anytime I'm looking for a candidate stock, I'm looking at LRN and I'm saying, well, okay, the price is going bottom left, upper right. Smoother the better. Well, it has a little bit of volatility in it, right? It's got a little bit of chop in the price action. And really the price kind of moved sideways through the middle 2/3 of this chart. But on the hard right edge, we broke out. We had a strong pullback, and now we've broken out again in the near term. So this stock with a rising earnings pattern, it's not smoother the better, but at least it is a positive price move. And if I look at the structure of price, right, the kind of the architecture form of the longer time frame, The price is moving higher over that 1 year time frame, which is what I want. There may be other candidates that look better, but at least I have that formation correctly displayed. And by the way, in an environment where the market's been pulling back since November. So LRN is doing a pretty good job of swimming against the tide.
And that's important. That's important.
And still making money.
That's important when you're trying to be a successful investor. If you're going to go against, for the lack of a better word, going against the trend in the market, you need to find stocks. And this is tough to do in a downtrending market, is to look for that 20% that do go against. You're going to find them, but this is one of the outliers that has been able to outpace the market to the upside while the market's moving down.
Yep. So these are the things we're looking for, but obviously we would advocate that you wait till the market stops falling,
right?
Because you don't know if LRN is going to succumb to the broader economic forces that are trying to push the economy lower, as well as the market. But if we're just looking at stocks generically, divorced from this idea of what is the broader market doing, this is what I'm looking for: stocks that are continuing to make more and more money. The earnings performance is improving, and the price is improving as well. Right? That's the magic combination that I'm trying to find. Right? So let's go look at another one, because sometimes you'll find stocks that the earnings performance is improving, but the price isn't. So even though the company is still making more and more money, for whatever reason, that sector or industry or that particular company has fallen out of favor with the market. So the question is, well, okay, so you, in your view, your analysis is that the market has gotten it wrong. All right, so are you going to buy the stock and convince the market that it's wrong? You might say, I've identified a candidate where I think the market has made a mistake, and look for an opportunity where I can rebuy. When's that opportunity present itself? When the stock price stops falling. Right, so there's an opportunity for CWCO when the price starts appreciating again. And what is that? What's an uptrend? Higher highs and higher lows. Now, from the perspective of earnings per share, bottom left, upper right, smoother the better. It's bottom left to upper right, but it's not smoother the better. Right, so their financial performance over this past year has been a little bit more rocky than we saw on our first graph. Glenn putting on our little channeling lines there shows that the price broke out above the prior swing high, came back for the retest, and has now made an advance, although it hasn't taken out the prior swing high yet. Right? See how he's marrying his trading techniques with our broader investor techniques. And so time frame is important. I'm starting with this 1 year time frame, but when it comes time to once I found a stock that I like the prospects, I can transition to the shorter time frame to look for the best entry opportunity. Right, and the best entry opportunity for us is stocks that are an uptrend, free of resistance. And so CWCO is coming right back up to that resistance level. I would wait for it to break through that resistance level before I took the position, because there's a pretty good probability that the stock will come to retest that resistance level and pull back. Well, why would I want to take a position in a stock so that 2 bars from now I can be in pullback? Well, I wouldn't. Right? So let's wait for it to push through with some follow through. And again, I feel like these days in the market, I have to couch when the market's rising after every time I talk about a stock chart. All right, who's next? And so, all right, I don't even need to talk about EDU. Doing none of the above. So there's a KURE, none of the above. That's going upper left to bottom right. That's doing exactly the opposite of what I want it to do.
So why did I pick that as a trending stock?
Because on a trading basis, on the short-term basis, right, that's the 1 year look. If I look at that on a 3 month look, right? It's a narrower focus, but I'm here for a narrower time frame, a shorter time frame. So Glenn is using a 3 and the 8 moving average crossover. I'm typically using a 40. Right? The time frame is longer, and so that matters. Let's go zoom back out to a year, Glenn.
Hold on.
And go back 2 charts. And I go back 3 more, one more. It's an ugly example, but the idea here is when I have price that's persistently going bottom left, upper right, when the stock pulls back, it tends to recover and go to the next higher high. As a position trader, my objective is to hold through the pullback to get to the next higher high. As a trader, you get out after that high, right? And then you'll jump back in off the next low. Your objectives and your trading window and your tactics are different. Right, and of course, the stop loss that I would apply to my trade would be different from Glenn's as well, typically farther away from the price action to let the stock be more resilient, have more room to breathe, and then I'll tighten up those stops and lock in profit as soon as I can, but it's all about giving fundamentally strong stocks more room to breathe. PRDO, moving on. Don't even need to look at it. Right? And so you can see quickly whether or not a stock is a good candidate. Now, Church and Dwight, structure-wise, I like the stock up until it hit that high, right? The earnings pattern is correct, but here's a stock that's getting beaten up in the current market sell-off that started in November, right? So it's getting beaten down. It's now bounced off of the lows. It's hit Glenn's radar as a trade. But as an investment, I'm saying, well, that's a nice little bounce, but I'm looking for at least the higher low, right, to confirm the change in trend. Right now, for me, this is a bounce in a downtrended stock. You can make an argument that it broke trend line, okay, but I'm still looking for the higher low, and ultimately a higher high with the higher low would be a confirmation of the change in trend.
Went back to that short-term window again.
Yeah, what I was saying, Glenn, if you go back to the broader window, you do a trend line on this pullback from the high through that next swing high. Yeah. So take that all the way to the bottom. And if that establishes a trend line for me, then the price action on this bounce has broken that trend line, which is an encouraging sign, but that's not a trend reversal for me. Right? I'm looking for price pattern to have higher highs and higher lows. So I took out the prior swing high, but I still need to put in the higher low. All right, WTRG. Not bottom left, upper right. Moving on. Earnings are, but price isn't. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on.
That's all of them.
On the list. That's all of them. All right, so when I have, I was going to say the right, but it's not necessarily the right parameters, but my parameters, which are right for me, right? When I have the parameters that I'm looking for, the process of stock selection becomes really easy. I can use that process and go through the top 30 VST stocks in about 30 seconds. Doesn't take a lot of work to just see visually what's the stock doing and whether or not it's in trend for both price and earnings. So once I've identified those best looking graphs, maybe I have 4 or 5 out of that list of 30 that I like. Well, now I can start looking at them for, the short-term time frame. Are they near support and resistance? Are they at good entry points? Maybe I want to look at a longer time frame, back it out to 5 years and see are they at, prior resistance points that are way left of the current price chart, or have earnings been consistent, and give deference to those that have the better long-term price patterns, because that's in keeping with what I'm doing in my portfolio.
So now I'm going to ask the question. One, hit the like button for Todd. I'll start off there. One, hit the like button if you like what Todd presented. How many of you out there would like to have a semblance of better understanding how to invest this way, no matter what stocks you own? Type a 1 in the room. How many of you really feel that this is useful enough that you would want to learn more about, no matter what stock is out there, whether it's a Kramer stock, whether it's a NASDAQ stock, no matter what's out there from the perspective of looking at stocks? I got you, Energy. Hold on for that. Todd, hold this question for me. Can you expand upon higher highs and higher lows and higher highs you're looking for to represent a trend reversal? So just hold on to that question, okay? You got that?
Yep.
All right. So how many of you would be interested in wanting to learn more about this? Because if you do, I got something for you. Free webcast on the successful investor, how to buy and sell stocks to consistently make 15% a year. And for all of the people who are typing 1 in the room, go to www. What's the / there, Joey? Is it
SI webinar?
It's SR webinar. And Joey pinned it at the top of the page. www.vectorvest.com / SI for successful investor, SI webinar all together. And Todd is going to be doing 3 webcasts next week. Wednesday, July 6th at 12 p.m., Wednesday, July 6th at 6 p.m., and Thursday, July 7th at 4:30 p.m. Go to that link that's at the top of that Joey's got pinned. Pick a date. Your name, your last name, your email address, and you will be registered for the webcast. I'd like everybody on our YouTube VV Nation to go to one of these webcasts. The webcast is free. And as you read it, I'm going to lay out the exact systems you need to use to tell you when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. And I think everybody on YouTube land needs to know that. Everybody on YouTube is tuning in to videos or live streams to see what the next best stock to buy. But what if you have the full control of your portfolio to know when to buy, what to buy, when to sell, without having to listen to someone like me say, go buy LRN, or go buy XROF, or go buy, what's that stock, Energy? VMware or VMAR, or any of those stocks. And that's what people come out here on YouTube to do. But we go above and beyond to educate you. We don't want to give you the fish, folks. We really strive to teach you how to fish. And this is a webcast that can do that for you via VMAR and Volta. I know it was, but yeah, Energy, thank you. All right, and in looking at this, I can read this, or you can read this, the exact criteria to use to pick the right stocks instead of wondering. How many of you get caught up in that, wondering what I should look for, or did I pick the right stocks? The 3 keys to buy at the right time so you aren't at the mercy of seemingly random market movements. How many of you think that, up one day, down one day, and you wonder, what the flying flip did I just do? When to sell your stocks. How many of you get stuck holding on to a stock because you think it's going to go back up, and you don't want to admit that you might have made the wrong decision? when to sell your stocks so you can have peace of mind. And I don't think we all got peace of mind. I think we got pieces of our minds every freaking where. But now you can get peace of mind. He'll also reveal the 3 strategic shifts you must make so that you can go from worrying if you'll have enough money to where you have confidence that you'll be able to live comfortably and take care of the people you love. Folks, www.vectorvest.com/SI webinar. Go support Todd. He will walk you through what you need to know to help you to be a more successful investor. 3 different dates you got to choose from. All right. So with that, unless you you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I do. Pull up a graph of XOM, will you? And hopefully you have a flavor just from this conversation that the way you answer those questions of when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell will change depending on your objective and your temperament. So here is Exxon Mobil. We know petroleum has been hot in this decline, right? So nice bottom left, upper right price pattern. I hope you agree. I hope you also agree a nice bottom left, upper right earnings pattern. This would certainly be a candidate for me, but it's also been in pullback. And so now I'm looking, I like the architecture, but I'm looking for a re-entry opportunity. So the most aggressive traders might try to re-enter based on a candlestick pattern or simply a strong price move to the upside, right? That establishes a pivot point. Well, if you zoom into 3 months, Glenn, you can see that comes with a little bit of risk, right? Because just because the stock price bounces doesn't mean that it has pivoted and is now reestablishing uptrend. Do this for me though, back out to 1 year and take off your lines and take off earnings. Because the question was about price trend. How hard would it be for you to take off the watermark?
I don't know how to do that. Actually, I do.
You do. Go into, yeah. Just because that's the meat of the chart. The main watermark, I think, is all you need.
That one?
I can't see your screen. No, that's real-time mark. Go to the second column. Second column there says main watermark. Go one to the right. Nope, you're not done yet. Go back up, where it says right of graph. Yeah, there you go. Now apply.
You want that too?
That's close enough. That's fine. So we need a freehand line. So what I'm going to have Glenn do, because our little picture's in the way, is you see that the price pulled back in December, right, and established a low in December. So put your cursor on that. Yep. And if I follow the price action up, wait a minute, I'm going slow, small bites first. Come back. Off of that low, price advanced. We like to see, at least 5 candles here or so. It advanced and then pulled back.
Okay.
So right now you've connected lows.
What do you want me to do?
So advanced and pulled back.
Advanced?
Well, I think people can get that, right? So
Okay.
right now, what did I do? I put in a higher, well, I haven't put in a higher high. I put in a high and a higher low. That's half of the equation, right? So trend would be higher high and higher low. As soon as the price takes out that prior swing high, I've now established the higher high. That makes sense? So now if I keep following that price action, we'll do it from the bigger moves. Take that line, Glenn, and now extend it all the way up to that high that's just above the R and integrated. Yeah, right in there. Okay, go to the high if you would, please. All right, so then from there, the price pulled back to a higher low, right? Yeah, right there. And then moved higher, again, took out the prior high, went to the higher high. So that price is in trend. And that pattern is continuing until when? Well, until we got up to retest the prior high. I can't believe for the date. It's just before May. Right there. Yeah, it failed to put the higher high in before it pulled back. It did pull back to a higher low, but at that point, trend is under pressure, right? Because I wasn't able to put in the higher high. I came back for the retest next, and depending on how you chart it, right, I'm still at that level from the prior high. It pulls back again and puts in a higher low, but I'm still not in trend because I'm not establishing the higher high. Comes back for the third retest, pulls back to the higher low, and this time actually does break out and puts in the higher high. All right, so that's what I'm looking for on trend. Those pivot points, are they higher or are they lower than the prior pivot point? Now let's drag this left a little bit, Glenn, so we see coming into that downtrend. I want to bring the down the bottom to the right a little bit. Yeah, right there. So I'm in this big pullback. So when do I establish trend coming off of that low? Well, I need to establish a higher high and a higher low. So the first bounce is actually still, right? It hits the trend line, but it's still a lower high in that series. It pulls back and establishes a higher low. So that's the good news. The next high, though, doesn't really go higher than the prior high. So now I'm in this little kind of sideways thing until I finally break out to the higher high just there in October.
Oh.
You're too far to the right. Yeah, you're in there now. All right, so in other words, what we're trying to demonstrate here, what I'm trying to demonstrate is before that, Glenn, just come into, you take out the prior swing high there in just before the October date line. Go left. Okay, and you see that gap right in that time frame. See how it took out the prior swing high?
Oh, okay, I
When
got
I
you.
was looking for a re-entry on this chart, I could have been very aggressive and tried to play the breakout candle right off the low. A very aggressive entry, but also a lower probability entry. Or I can wait for trend to reestablish by putting in a higher high and a higher low, which, yeah, I'm farther off the low price, but I've also reestablished trend and improved my probabilities. So for this group, I'm talking about those trade-offs. In Successful Investor, we say, well, let's start with a stock that was already going bottom left, upper right. If it pulls back with the market, great, but I'm going to wait for the reestablishment of trend before I do the reentry. I may be off the high, but I at least see that the stock is resuming trend. And that's what we look for. And of course, we'll do much more instruction and some practice, but that's what we're looking for. That's how we define trend. And so I would encourage you, pull up stock charts, take the top VST stocks and put on a chart and just, if you want to do the trend lines, great. Or if you just want to take a little short line and tag the high, tag the low, tag the high, tag the low, and just get in the habit of seeing those reversals. And by the way, if you put the support and resistance trend line drawing tool on the graph, it will pick pivot points for you, at least the major ones.
Look at that. We weren't far from that, were we?
Yep. So it's looking, it's looking for specific things in the line drawing tool of the size, the scope of that reversal, which is why it ignored some of the reversals in the middle. But that'll help you pick out those reversal points. Look at the next series, right? That's obviously a pivot point, right? The next resistance line that's higher up, boom, right? And if you hover on that, it shows you the pivot points that it has identified. And yeah, Maria, you're right. It takes a little practice.
Yeah, I put that up there. It does, and you want to curb some of that practice. That's why going to this free webcast is important, especially if you found this useful. This is why it's important.
Yep. So in our base case, we prefer to be in a rising market and have stocks that have been steadily rising. But we talk about the real world where you don't always find the perfect case. So we still need to be able to operate, and that's what successful investing is all about. Identifying the good cases and taking advantage of them.
Joey, can you put us on the screen with me and Todd both, please? So we did this a little different today. If you like the format that I did today without all the stories and stuff and walking you through the power of using the VectorVest system, type a 1 in the room. If you want me to go back to the old way of doing it with all of the different stories behind the stocks, type a 2 in the room. All right. But while you're typing that, I want to say thank you to Todd for coming out today to take a look at the same kinds of stocks that I look at for Trending Thursday. What you did, you got into the mind of Glenn for finding the stocks that I try to present every Thursday. But usually there's news behind some of the stocks. Well, a lot of people said 2. Interesting. More people said 2 than I thought. Roger says he prefer a mix. All right. I think I can come to a happy medium with maybe less stories, but more emphasis on the stocks. All right. Well, and again, this is why I'm asking the question. This is all about you guys and keeping you guys here on our channel. But I wanted to show with Todd the difference between what we do on Trending Thursday and the characteristics of what to look for in a stock for being a successful investor. Now, I'm not saying that Trending Thursday can't make you a successful investor, but time frame is key. What is your time frame when you're looking at investing in
when
stocks?
our minds are working alike, which is scary for me, but it's going to happen where you're going to identify stocks, and of course, in this market condition, maybe less so, but stocks like Exxon Mobil, right, that are in persistent trends are still going to have 3 and 8 moving average crossovers.
Right.
So your exercise, bringing stocks to my attention, is the first step. My analysis of those stocks for my objectives is the second step, and they can often coexist. Right. So just use the VectorVest tool. If you're in the jockey club, if you're watching Patrick do a day trade, are there no stocks that are in persistent uptrends that have a good market day that he day trades? Right. Well, of course there are. Right. The key is use the tool in your time frame with your objective, no matter how you found the stock lead. Whether it's a news article, the thing I love about when you do the news headlines is, hey, there's a narrative, and so much of the market chases narrative. Well, if I have a nice trade setup and I have a narrative, yeah, I'll take that all day long, because I have people who are just chasing the story while I'm chasing the price.
All right. I like that the people in the room pretty much liked a mixture. And I think that going forward then, maybe, and this will be great for Joey because Joey thinks I bring up too many news stories, but maybe I use a lot less news stories, but still some news stories to show the narrative behind why some of the stocks that I have for Trending Thursday are trending higher. Because a lot of times it could be the news. Today, all of the stocks that I looked at, we didn't look at any news on them. But I think that some stocks that we look at, we still can look at why the stock is moving up on news. Sonny says, bring back Professor Profit. Man, I don't think Professor Profit was so good. I really don't think so. Joey, what do you think? Should I bring back Professor Profit for a visit at least?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Joey says I need to bring back Professor Profit for a visit. All right, maybe he'll be Jamaican Professor Profit. He'd be like, hey, man, you want to buy stocks? Me gonna show you how. You want to buy the good stock that go boom? Me gonna show you how. But first, we must have the curry goat. Got to have the curry going. Wow. Maybe it needs to be a Jamaican Professor Profit. And yeah, I think Sonny says, I was kidding. No, you started it now. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, this just took a left turn.
You started it now. I think we're going to have a Professor Profit, and I think he's going to be a Jamaican Professor Profit. Yeah. Okay. All right. With that, folks, if you haven't hit the like button already, please do. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. Todd, it was my pleasure having you here. And you know me, anytime you got a webcast coming up that you want people to see, just come on, stop on by, man. Stop on by. I love the exercise that we did today. The exercise that we did today was freaking awesome.
I always have fun when we get together, and I appreciate the chance to bark at your peeps.
Yeah, there you go. What's up, peeps? You got to say what's up. Like, yeah, do it like that. If you don't do that, they're not gonna. What's up? All right, folks.
If I do that, they may not.
So with that, I'm finna sign off. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste, yasu. Until the next time, folks, see ya.